Hello, hello, hello. It's Saturday. I hope everyone is doing well on today. As you come in, share this. Hello, hello. It's been a great day. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Today is a great day. I hope you're ready to go into the pitfall of denial. As you gonna give about one more minute for everyone to join. Hello, hello, hello. We're talking about the pitfalls of emotional healing and the things that we have to go through to get to that place of being healed. You will have to overcome some things. You will face some challenges. But we're going to walk into the next pitfall. We've gone through every step. We started at step 1. We're at step 6 now. Step 6, part 2. There's a lot of pitfalls. I can't go over all of them because we'll be in this book forever. But I have picked out about 5 or 6 that we'll be talking about. We talked about anger this past Wednesday. And today we're going to be talking about denial. And then the next one will be depression. And then we'll do 2 more. And then I still encourage you to get this book. It is a great reference, especially if you have dealt with some things, or you're still dealing with some things, or you know somebody that's dealing with these issues as far as emotional healing and getting to the place where they need to be. So we'll get ready to start in a moment, but share this, invite someone on, because we're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk. Hello, hello. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead. Start this out. All right. So as I was saying, hello. Thank you all. And if you have questions as we go along, make sure you post that question in your comments. I'll answer whatever I can, and whatever I can, I'll get back to you. And if there's anyone that's on now or that joins later that has been following the series as we've walked through step by step, and you have a testimony, please let me know. Please share that. I have already received some great feedback, and I thank God for those that are letting me know. But when God pushes you to release something, you do want to know that the people are receiving and being able to thank you and being able to apply the lessons that they've been learned to their life, right? So I want to know that you are walking this thing out. I want to know that you were able to identify some areas in your life that you didn't recognize that was still there. You didn't realize that you uncovered some stuff. You didn't realize that there were some hidden things up under the cover, but in order to get to some things, you must uncover things layer by layer, and God will get you to the point where you're ready for that next layer and you're ready to take charge and to move forward, because it's all about making a decision. All you got to do is make that decision. But sometimes making that decision is the hardest thing, because even though sometimes we say we want to be healed, we also want to hold on to the anger. We want to hold on to, because we get this mindset that if I let go, if I forgive, then they're free. Or, I'm not, but you're never even punishing them. I don't know why we think that us being mad is punishing the other person that hurt us. We're not doing anything but hurting ourselves. We're keeping ourselves locked up. We're keeping ourselves in a place where we can't even grow. We can't hear because we're stuck. And so we have to release all of that baggage. We have to get to a place where we are at least willing to release the baggage. So once we get to the place where we are willing to release the baggage, then we can continue to move forward and ask God to help us step by step, because sometimes that's all you got. Hitting the wrong button. That's all you got is step by step. So what is the lie? As we start tonight, I'm going to post something. What is the lie that we're telling ourselves? The lie is, I know the truth, but I choose to live as if I don't. So we say, okay, well, what could that be? I know the truth, but I choose to live as if I don't. So before I get into that, let me just read a little bit about what Stormie says. Right? So she says, my father knew my mother wasn't normal, but he didn't know what to do about it. He was afraid to seek psychiatric help for fear she would be committed to a mental hospital like the ones in the horror movies he had seen in his youth. Hoping she would someday miraculously snap out of it, he chose to ignore the problem. He lived in denial. How many times have we been sitting there, we're facing an issue, we know what the issue is, even when someone doesn't even say, this is my issue, or this is what I'm struggling with, because God gives us discernment for a reason. He gives us discernment for those reasons because he knows everyone doesn't have the ability to admit that they're wrong. Everyone doesn't have the ability to see where they're falling. Everyone doesn't have the ability to see their lack. So he gives us discernment to be able to see some things in other people that they can't seem to see in themselves. So we see a problem. But how many times we make an excuse of why we can't speak to the problem? Or I'm not speaking to that because I know if I go and speak to that, they're not getting ready to receive what I got to say. Or they are so confrontational, I'm not dealing with that. Let somebody else handle it. Or if I speak to this, I'm about to open up a whole can of worms that I don't know if I am willing to look at those worms. I don't know if I'm willing to live with those worms. I don't know if I don't know where this conversation is going to lead. I recognize that there's a problem. And I recognize we got to deal with this problem. But I also recognize if I speak to this thing, I don't know what's going to be uncovered. I don't know if they're going to lie about it, which is going to take me down one path, or if they tell the truth, it's going to take me down another path, or if they sprinkle it with the truth, sprinkle the lie, or tell a little bit of the lie and then sprinkle it with the truth, where that's going to take me. So I'll just pray about it. I'll just keep praying about it, or I'll just, until I see it for myself. That's one we use. Until I see it for myself, I'll just act like that's really not happening. You're living in denial. So denial is knowing the truth, but choosing to live as if you don't. Denial is deceiving yourself. We say, if I pretend this isn't happening, it will go away. Or if I tell myself this is something else, it will be whatever I want it to be. Now, we can even say that doesn't even have to be about something else. That can be about our own selves. Say we mixed up into something. Say maybe we've allowed ourselves to go and not be in. We know that we should not have walked through that door, but now we're in the door. We begin to make excuses of how we got there. We had a valid reason. Something pushed us there. We didn't fight hard enough to stay from outside of the door. So once we get in the door, we begin to justify the fact while we're there. We begin to say, well, God knows my heart. I just need to kick this, or I just need to get rid of that, or I prayed. When I seen this coming on, I prayed and I asked God, don't let me make that next step. I asked him, don't let me take that next step. I asked him, don't let me walk through that door. I asked it, don't let the phone ring. I asked for this certain person not to call me. I asked for him not to even let me see a certain type of person for so long. And he didn't do that. And he already knew I was weak. So since he didn't do it and how many knew I was weak, he already knew I was going to be here. So he's just going to have to give me some time to get out. You're living in denial. You're deceiving yourself because you know you're wrong. Yes, you may pray and ask God not to allow you walk through the door. He said, but every temptation, there will be a way of escape. So you're still going to be tempted. I don't care how saved and anointed you are. You're still going to be tempted, but you have the power. You still have you still have the ability to choose. You have the ability to make a decision. God is not going to take our free will away. So you have to say, I'm fighting this hard fight. This thing is real. And I feel the fire on the back of my neck. I feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up because I feel like I got the keys in my hand. I don't even have the keys in my hand. I done put the keys in the door of the car. I done got in the car. And I'm using the car as the symbolism of the sin. So I got the keys to get into what I shouldn't be getting into. I put the key in the door to open up the door of the thing that I don't need to walk into. I've taken a seat in the thing that I don't need to take a seat in. And I put the key in the ignition in the thing that I know I need to walk away from. And I've even started the car in the thing. I've even turned the key and started the ignition to the thing I know I need to move away from. The only thing I have not done is put my foot on the gas. So I've made all of these decisions, and up to that point, God is saying, you know better. You know what decision to make. So I've made all of these decisions to get me closer and closer to this door instead of walking away from the door. And he's unctioning me and telling me, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. Oh, yes, you have to fight. And yes, it is temptation to your spirit because your flesh is your flesh and you still won't feel what you want to feel, but you have to be willing to die to what you feel. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice to walk the other way. So even if you took the keys, even if you opened the door, even if you got in the car, got in the place, You made up in your mind that you done turned the key. You made up in your mind you are going forward, but you haven't put your foot on the gas yet. It's not too late. Even if you're sitting there contemplating with the car running, your hand on the wheel, and you're ready to take off, you can still say, okay, I'm not going to go forward. I can still turn this car off. I can still get out the door, and I can still walk in a different direction. Don't live in denial. So so ask yourself, are you living in denial? That's a question that you need to ask yourself tonight. Am I living in denial? And that's something that's real. Amen. That's real. So now I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you self-evaluate as I asked you these questions about you living in denial. Are you afraid to deal with such a specific thing at this moment? Or do you say to yourself, my situation is not as bad as it appears? Do you say to yourself, if I try harder, things will be all right? Do you say to yourself, my life is too messed up, nothing will help? Do you say to yourself, I don't have a problem with alcohol or drugs. I'm able to control what I do? Do you say to yourself, my spouse or best friends drink frequently, but not excessively? Do you say to yourself, I have a secret part of my life, I have a secret part of my life that I feel is not necessary to reveal to anyone? Do you say, I sometimes lie about my activities to my family or friends? Do you say, some of my family and friends have talked to me about a specific thing, but I don't think there really is a problem? If you checked, or if you said yes to any of those, or you might have a problem in your life right now. And so, some of these things that I just mentioned, they do relate to addictions of alcohol and drugs. And if you know that you have a problem with alcohol or drugs or something that's going in that area, you need to get help. You need to speak to a counselor. You need to get to the root of the issue. Yes, God can deliver you. And let me tell you, true deliverance is real. When he sets you free, you're free. But he can't stop you from going back, because you going back is you making a decision to go back. It doesn't mean that his deliverance wasn't real. It just means you didn't embrace it. It just means you didn't embrace the deliverance that he had for you. So we are, and we need to understand that we have all been in a position where we have we had been deceptive to ourselves. We've all been self-deception at one time or another. And that's why we can't be so critical of someone else because of who's living in denial, because at some point we was there too. So we need to remember where we were when we thought we were okay and we was not okay. We weren't even close to being okay. So if you live in denial about anything, you will keep coming around to the same problem over and over again. Have you been there? Have you been at a point in your life where you feel like you've tried everything and it looks like things are going good for so long, and then when you least expect it, you look up and you're in the same place where you started, and it begins to look like a cycle, and then you begin to ask yourself, how do I keep getting back here? How do I keep moving forward? But when my moving forward turns into a circle because I'm not going forward, I'm ending back up at the place that I started. And if I end up at the place that I started, that means I'm not growing. I'm not growing. So it looked like I was going somewhere, but somewhere along the way, I deceived myself and I end up taking a loop and doing the same thing. Why doesn't the situation ever change? Why can't I ever get beyond this? And the answer is the spirit of truth has not been allowed to shine a light in your life. The spirit of truth has not been allowed to shine its light on that issue in your life. So you're blocking out the light because you want to stay in denial. You want to believe the thoughts that are in your head. You want to believe that you're right. You want to believe that you're justified, but you're wrong. And being told that you're wrong doesn't feel good and is very humbling, and it you know, but you some of us need a rude awakening, because so many times we say, well, if God shows me or God tells me, I'll change. That's a lie. No, it's a lie, because if God shows you and he tells you, he uses people to show you and tell you. He uses situations and circumstances to show you and tell you. But it's just like the man that was praying to God, the story that happens where the man was praying to God, and he said, I need a sign. And God sent him a bird. And he missed that sign. Because it was a drought and the bird came. I can't remember the story verbatim, so I'm just going to give it the way I remember it. And so he sent the bird, and he was in water. He needed a way to get out or be rescued. God sent a boat. God sent help. He dismissed that. It wasn't God. It wasn't the sign. He kept praying for different signs. God, send me this, send me that. He sent rain. He sent the sunshine. He dried it up. And every time he sent him something, he asked for something else, because he kept ignoring. God was answering over and over again. God kept sending him what he needed. So I say that to say to us, when we get in that place of self-deception, God is talking to us. He is sending us a sign. He's trying to help us. But because we have been deceived by our own words, we need help to be able to see what God is saying. So we can't do it ourselves. We need an accountability partner. We need somebody else on our side to say, look, dude, you wrong. Look, woman, you wrong. Look, I need you tripping. You need to listen. Do you even hear the words that's coming out of your mouth? Okay, so facing the truth. Many people don't want to spend any time dealing with past or present problems. They often cite the passage in scripture where the Apostle Paul says, we should be forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. Philippians 3:13. But what he means is that we shouldn't be living in a past or present occurrence from which we've been set free. That's what Paul means. He means if God has freed you from a thing, you should no longer be living in that thing that he freed you from. Well, yet we truly can't be free if we have not brought this into the full light of God and exposed it for what it is. So if you got a problem, but you keep saying, well, I'm just going to pray about it, I'm not going to tell nobody else about it, and if God want me to be delivered from it, I'll just wake up one day and I won't have a desire about it. No, you need to bring it to light, because you need help. And you need someone to help you get to the place where you need to be. You need an accountability partner. You can't be accountable to yourself. It's just not possible. Denying a problem means that it can never be solved. For instance, most addiction counselors will tell you that the first step in recovery is to get the patient out of denial, is making they encourage you to make a statement. They encourage you to say, I am an alcoholic. Even those people that go to AA, and they've been clean for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years, they still say, I am an alcoholic, but I have not had a drink since 5 years ago, 7 years ago. So why do you say I am an alcoholic? Because I'm letting you know that I know that if I don't continue to remind myself of where I was, if I don't continue to remind myself that all it takes is one moment, one situation for me to deceive myself that I'm stronger than what I really am, and I can be right back to what I have been delivered for. So this is my constant reminder of what I've been delivered from, so that I don't go back to the thing that I have been set free of. God calls us to the truth. Scripture says in Psalm 51:6, behold, you deserve truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden parts, you will make me to know wisdom. So you need to ask yourself, what have some people told you that you needed to do? What are some things that people have suggested that you needed to do? Write them down. I tend to deny a certain thing that people say about me because. Why do you deny that? If people call you angry and you say, I'm not angry, why do you deny that? If people say you are too free or too nice or too generous, when because people are running all over you because you want stand up for yourself and you say, that's not who I am. Why do you deny what other people are saying about you? So, and you need to write these things down because you want to pray about it, because you need the truth about who you are. And yes, we can't always take on the labels that people are putting on us, because sometimes people are putting labels on us. But at the same time, sometimes God is using people to help us see our truth, to help us see that thing that we're trying to run from. So we cannot continue to live in denial. Somebody needs to say, I will not continue to live in denial. I will not I will not continue to live in denial. So we need to establish an accountability relationship. Choose someone that you know won't let you get away. I mean, we all got a good friend, you know. Some of them may be going the same direction with us, some of them maybe not. But sometimes we know those people that's going to tell us what we want to hear. That's not your accountability partner. You need to find someone that's going to give you the hard cut truth. So in John 8:32, Jesus promises us, and you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Do you want to be free on tonight? Do you want to be free? Do you want to stop living in a place that you know that God has destined you? You deny that because that just ain't true. Okay. What's not true, Bishop? None of it. So I want to encourage you. Hold on. What did I do? All right. So see, here's some scriptures I want to give you. And as you move forward into, if you really desire the truth about yourself and you really want to stop living in denial, stop living in denial. Stop living in denial. Accept the truth and be free. Accept the truth and be free. All right. So again, we started out with the lie. And the lie says, I know the truth, but I choose to live as if I don't. But today we say, I'm no longer going to live in denial. Here are your scriptures. I want you to take those scriptures and study those scriptures. Psalms 51:6. Romans 1:18. But God shows his anger from heaven against all sinful, wicked people who push the truth away from themselves. But God shows his anger from heaven against all sinful, wicked people who push the truth away from themselves. You say, well, I'm saved. I'm not sinful. I just choose to not believe that right now. I choose to not deal with that. Well, if you push the truth away from yourself and you choose to be free and you choose to live in denial, you are a sinful, wicked person. So don't be sinful and don't be wicked. And let's continue to accept the truth so that we can change. And then I'm going to end tonight with John 16:13. When the Spirit of truth has come, he will guide you into all truth. I want God to guide me into all truth, no matter how much it hurts, how much it makes me wiggle, how much it makes me switch in my seat. I didn't mean to. You want me to take it down? I don't know what I did. Oh, there it goes. I don't know why I did that. Sorry. um, See, oh, this is what I need to post. The lie. I know the truth, but I choose to live. I keep finding new things about this app. I don't use it enough to really play with it, or I don't play with it enough. So, but we don't want to live in that lie anymore. We want to walk in the truth. So I hope on tonight you are encouraged and you take those scriptures, you begin to study those scriptures. And again, if you have been listening to these lives and things have been changing in your life, as far as emotional healing, maybe some things have been revealed to you that you didn't recognize before you started listening. Maybe you haven't completely forgiven, but you've gotten to a place where you say, okay, I choose to forgive. I'm no longer going to walk around and say, I'm never going to do that. Now you've gotten to a place where you're willing to allow God to walk you through the process to get to your healing. I want to hear your testimony. If you don't want to post it in the comments, you don't have to, but send me an inbox. Or you can go to my website if you would like to send it there, whatever you want to do. But I would like to hear your story. I would like to hear your testimony. And I would like, because I want you to be encouraged, and I'll continue to pray for you, but I want to be encouraged as well to know that the people are able to receive what God is saying and apply it to them, to their lives. Amen. So share this with someone that may be struggling. Continue to, my page is open so they can always go back and get their other videos. Or you can share the other videos with them, whatever you want to do. But be encouraged on today. Continue to press forward. And on next Wednesday, we will go into the next one. The next pitfall is depression. And that's something that many of us deal with, but we don't talk about it. The spirit of depression, the pitfall of depression, but we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday. So tell somebody else, come back. I hope to see you Wednesday morning at War Room Prayer, and then we'll come back Wednesday night at 7 p.m. To talk about the pitfall of denial. God bless you. Pray for me as I pray for you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Bishop.